Blade Talk with Scab and Joe.
The American experiment requires us all to push the boundaries.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. Sit back, relax. We got a pretty good show here. Please don't forget our U.S. veterans. Growing awareness for veteran suicide. Hashtag 22 a day no more. Veterans, you always have a place here. There is a number in the description of all of my videos for some good folk that can help you if you are in despair. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. My name is Joe Steele, and I'm coming to you from my channel, which is pretty interesting because this is the first time I'm announcing my channel, my new channel name live anywhere. It's first video I'm coming out with, first live, first anything. But the new channel name is going to be called The Steel Mindset. And there's a couple reasons why I named it that way. And I think I actually made an well, I'm going to be putting a video out for it. But yes, my name is Joe from Steel Mindset with my partner Scab from Choirboyz Outdoors. And we're really, really happy to have the next guest coming in. We're going to talk about him in a second. But obviously, you know, guys, on our corresponding channels, on Scab's channel, on my channel, and on Blade Talk with Scab and Joe, we grow awareness for our veterans. And really all we're saying is, vets, we love you. You're welcome on our channels. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the content with us. And definitely, you know, come into the chat. We would love to talk to you. On this Blade Talk, we're coming in with Daniel from 411 Outdoors. Now, I've been watching his channel for a little while. Scab has been watching the channel for a little while. We both decided we really want to get this guy on. Not only is he great at his knife reviews, he knows how to use a knife. He knows how to fight with a knife, how to handle a knife. He has a background in it, and he does great reviews on his blade, you know, in terms of insight on the blade that he has in hand. But he also has some really great content in terms of his insight into self-defense, into so many different really interesting topics, things that we all want to talk about. So he's doing really well with himself on the channel. He's grown really large, you know, amount, you know, in a short period of time. He's doing a really good job. And I really want to share his channel and talk about his insight and where he's coming from. So without further ado, let's get Blade Talk rolling with Daniel from 411 Outdoors. Let's get Scab in and let's get it going. Thanks everybody for joining us in the chat. And if you have any questions for anything like that, I'll definitely, I'll look at the.
What's going on?
Super glad to be here, everyone.
Out. Okay. Welcome, Daniel.
Glad you're here, Daniel. Glad you're here. Joe, good to see you, man. Hey, Tucker. Listen, Daniel, introduce yourself, if you would. Just a few minutes of background. Tell everybody who you are.
All right. Well, I'm Daniel, as you know. Back when I was 14 years old, my journey into what I do now began at age 14. I was kind of a sports reject. I remember trying out for baseball and didn't make the cut. It was the first time as growing up as a kid that I decided to take the leap to get into sports. And it just wasn't my thing. But in my heart, man, growing up, there was always just this draw towards martial arts. And went to Dad and I said, Dad, I'm ready to get started. So I was blessed enough about 30 minutes from my home to find a karate academy that was also kind of an MMA academy. They took people through the regular karate journey, but it was also Muay Thai. Once you got to a certain rank in karate, we got into Muay Thai boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We got into American freestyle karate, and we also were into Kali. Kali is where I got introduced to weaponry and things like that, practicing. And I really only did knives and eskrima. I never really took to eskrima, but I've always had a fixation on the art with the blades. And it was just a really well-rounded martial arts academy. And I did that for several years and just studied a lot of different arts that were very balanced across the board. Universal Karate Academy is no longer open. The owners retired, and they've since bulldozed that institution because they built property there. I drive by there every now and then and just reminisce, but it was a really cool place that taught me a lot, and I got exposed to a lot of different martial arts, boxing included, wrestling. It was a full clinic of every dimension.
including some work with knives and knife defense. When I left Universal Karate Academy, I just spent those following years, for the most part, just doing continuing education in various ways in different martial arts and training with people in the community. I actually spent a lot of time teaching Muay Thai in particular, and just teaching and training and mentoring young kids. That's kind of what I do for a living outside of YouTube. Is I'm a youth leader in my church, and I work with young people and mentor and teach, and even a lot of those students coming up through the years, I worked with them in martial arts. This was before the channel. The channel was not born until shortly after 2020. 2020 was a hard year for all of us, and I will say that year hardened me up in a lot of ways. I had gotten further and further away from martial arts to the point to where I was uncomfortable with where I was at, and 2020 was just an awakening to get back into it, just seeing where the world was at, at that time. That was huge. I'm turning on the news every day, and I'm seeing riots and people being attacked, and seeing so many scenarios where people who probably never knew that this kind of thing could happen in society was experiencing things that were unheard of. And I think there was something in that particular year that reawakened my heart to the point to where not only was I ready to train privately like I was doing, but to go public with helping people and training and having conversations. And also alongside of that, I lost my dad in 2021 in January, and I was a broken man. I was in an extreme state of grief. If my life was a table, it felt like one of the legs was missing, and that grief. When you mix anger and because I was angry about the world in 2020. I let it get to me. I got to admit, I just let it get to me. And when you take anger and then a month later you experience the worst kind of grief you've ever felt, it will either break you or it will produce something of resilience. And I decided to do good. I knew my dad would want me to do that. So I stepped out and started the channel having a clear vision on what I wanted to present, and that's kind of how I got led into YouTube. That's how it all got started. And of course, I had to break ground. I didn't have the full picture of what was going on. I knew I had a passion for blades and self-defense and fighting arts, but I also knew that I needed to present things to the algorithm that was going to be relevant. And I started out with reviews. I felt like that was the best place to start, was talking about the different products that I was passionate about to try to get something going. Because, I had tried to put out some YouTube videos about my own personal reflections, but the algorithm didn't know me. It didn't give a crap, and I was like, I got to start somewhere. So let's review the gear that I like. After a while, I just got tired of talking about products, and I never wanted to be a product pusher. And it was my heart and soul was to go deeper than that. And I reached the place where I had a big enough audience to where I could start taking a leap of faith and taking a chance on putting myself out there as a teacher and as a coach. And it took off. It really did. It was what was born out of grief and pain turned into something amazing that I never knew I'd be able to do. And I've reached the point now where it's, I'm earning from YouTube, which is a blessing as well. And all it does is fuel the fire to keep being creative. And so that's, as far as personal experiences, I was talking to Joe a little bit ago. Everything that I talk about on my channel to some degree is birthed by some kind of personal experience. I will literally have a personal interaction with somebody that, may be positive or negative. And I'm thinking to myself, if I had that experience, surely other people are having that experience. So I go out and I allow my everyday experiences to be a content creation idea source for me. And just like, I've got a video coming out this Sunday titled Signs That You Are Dealing with a Jealous Person in Your Life. and that's way out there. But like I've seen the damaging effects of these things, and I've realized that self-defense goes so much further than how to punch, kick, grapple, use a knife, use a gun, because that's the tip of the iceberg, and that's the place that we never want to get to if we can avoid it.
Yeah.
I think the psychological, mental health, the wisdom aspect of life is the sharpest weapon. And you give people strength to navigate through situations so that they're not going crazy and they end up going off the deep end. So that's kind of how it all began. That's my martial arts background. I'm obsessed. I mean, it's always been what I'm doing behind the scenes. My wife will tell you, if I get a minute of downtime, I'm running back down to the basement. I'm training again, whether it's with a reflex bag or Bob or my grappling dummy, and whatever it is I've got. It's just something that I have to do. I feel, I hate to use a strong word, I feel useless if I'm not doing that, and so I have a passion for teaching. If people want to know where did I get my teaching background, Will was working with the teens, the youth, and 10 years of standing up in front of people and talking. I was standing up in front of people 10 years talking and presenting long before I ever had a YouTube channel. And it all of that roads just came to this one place. And I'm excited about not only continuing doing what I've been doing, but also building on that and just letting the sky be the limit. If it's worthwhile, if I think it's something that's going to help somebody's life, I'm going to make a video about it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, because I told him, I was talking to Brother Joe earlier, man, and I said, this may be a strong term, and it's a bit comical, but I never wanted my channel to turn into just one big circle jerk about one piece of gear all the time. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, like, if that's somebody's jam, I respect that. Some people, I just didn't want my channel to become that, because I'm getting to the point to where it's like, instead of going after new gear, I'm almost wanting to explore the gear that I've got and talk about it more and become more and more intimate and familiar with it, as far as a practical aspects. Like I'm revisiting the Seal Pup again in the next couple of weeks, and just talking about how it's literally my favorite tactical fixed blade, specifically for the price. And I learned some things about the Seal Pup that I never knew, such as movies that it was showcased in and things like that. So it's just a whole wide world with the type of content that we have. And I enjoy y'all's channel, and Scab, I watch your shorts every day. I love them, man, and I love the tag that you've got. I need one. Like, I love I'm Scab, and you're not. I love that tag.
Well, I'm glad you do. Not many people do, but so listen. As I'm sitting here listening to you, one, I knew you were a man of faith, because I grew up and you can see it on people when it's genuine. But your transition with the channel isn't a far stretch, right?
Right.
What you've done is you've taken gear review
Mm-hmm.
and took the next natural step. And I think what you've done, in my opinion, it's just been very natural and very organic. And I think that's why it does well. Talk a little bit, though, because this does intrigue me, and then we'll kind of press forward into some things you wanted to. How does your channel square up with your day job? Do you catch any grief over that?
Actually, no. I love that question. Years ago, it got brought up one time, and one of my fellow leaders asked me if any of the young people that I work with, parents, were worried about, the type of stuff that I do. And believe it or not, it has been well received. There has been absolutely no negativity with it at all. There was one video that I did that made one fellow leader uncomfortable. I was showing people how to cut. I was doing a video on the anatomy and cutting, and nobody complained. And I don't even know how he saw the video. This particular guy didn't have Facebook, so somebody came back and told him. I told him that I would dial it down on Facebook, and I said, but not YouTube. He said, well, I wouldn't be worried about that because Facebook's the local community.
Yeah.
So I have to be a little bit mindful of what I'm putting on Facebook in my because Facebook's my locals. I did a video throwing a knife into a ballistic skull, and I just, my gut told me that I needed to go out and take that off of Facebook. Yeah. Just because people on a local level, man, they think you're psychotic when they see you doing stuff like that, which, maybe I am when it comes to, I believe when it comes time.
Isn't that a nice guy in the church? What is he doing?
Right.
What is he doing right now? Isn't that boy in the church?
Yeah. When it's time to be a wrathful menace, you got to be that, and, but people, I've gotten very little flack from it. I've got a new leader now in play that he's totally good with it. And, yeah, there hadn't been any problems crossing over into that, Scab. It's been a blessing, and I've been able to do both of those things alongside of each other. In some ways, it's fed one another because a lot of the parents wanted me mentoring and teaching their boys. A lot of people on the YouTube channel don't see this, but I bring groups of guys out to the property, and sometimes on a summer evening, the weather's good, we'll be out there training Muay Thai out on the grounds. Hitting pads and everything.
Yeah, it's a natural fit, and the truth is what I was curious, because you get comments. It's never ever typically people out in YouTube land. It's always people close to home, right?
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I can tell you exactly how he knew. Just, my dad's been a pastor for 53 years, just like my dad knows everything I do.
Yeah.
It's always the do-gooder that's going to tell on you. But the truth is, like I knew you were a man of faith. You can see it. The things that you talk about in your videos, you're not talking about just going out and wrecking somebody for the sake of wrecking somebody. You're not talking about being the aggressor. And that is huge in my mind. You're one of the few people that I will watch on YouTube when it comes to any kind of mutual combat, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
Because yours is in the defense and yours is the psychological part. Yeah. There's too many guys that fake it. Right? There's too many guys that want to do this, and you know who they are, but that's dangerous. I feel that's very dangerous to promote that. Let's talk a little bit about where you're going with your channel, because we're all excited about that too. Tell me what kind of led you to that next progression and what you see beyond that.
I have a deep down desire to teach. I love to teach, and I love to teach deeply. I love to get to the heart of the matter. I am really into wisdom in and of itself. I think wisdom is one of the most powerful gifts that God has given to us to navigate life. And I have learned that wisdom will take people places further than qualification or skill set or reputation or position. Wisdom, I think there's a verse in scripture that says that all the wealth of the world is tied up into wisdom. And wisdom it's broad. It's a broad topic. And, guys like us who are into certain types of gear, and or whether it be combatives, we operate just like everyday people. We have certain gear that we love, but we also navigate life just like everybody else does. And we want to do that strategically. And my channel is evolving into the ability to literally talk about anything that would strategically help somebody's life. That to me is relevant. They can come to 411 Outdoors for a gear review once a week, because I like to pull out a fixed blade about once every week or two. They can come and find out about the occasional crossbow or the occasional. I'm getting ready to do a video next week titled 3 emergency items for your home you didn't think about. And it's just it's broad, and that's the evolution of it, brother Scab. It's just anything that is relevant as far as life strategy and the well-being of human beings. And I have to be creative about it, because I understand that not everybody that I'm talking to are people of faith. But what I have discovered is that the truth is the truth. Whether you stamp, I'm a believer on that, I'm a Christian. The truth is the truth. And if you know how to talk to people, truth can be linear across the board, and it speaks for itself, man. Truth is like a lion. If you let the lion out of the cage, he'll defend himself. The lion, when you let the truth out, the truth just speaks for itself. The only thing I strive to do on my channel is anticipate objections as much as possible. And that has helped me a lot. If we'll speak the truth while anticipating objections, the crowd really appreciates that a whole lot, because it's so easy to throw out a truthful blanket statement that we stand by, but we really got to be thinking as well about the anticipation of objections. And I think that's something that people will respect. I've got respect all over the world, all these different religions, yet at the same time, I'm unashamed to say, I'm a Christ follower, and I believe he's the way, the truth, and the life. And but at the same time, 411 Outdoors is not it's not an evangelical Christian branded channel. It's a channel for everybody. That's how I want it to be. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
So let's talk about psychology a little bit. Psychology for the fight, psychology, because there'll be people that watch this, and because they're miserable, they'll say, well, Brother Daniel, what about when Jesus says, turn the other cheek?
Yeah, it's all about oh, go ahead.
No. So my thing is this. One, that was something in context that they rarely get, but let's talk about your psychology in day to day, and how you approach yourself, your family, your psychology for the fight, if you will. Talk about that some.
Absolutely. I've been in the kind of fights where the context of turning the cheek was 100% the way to go. I'll never forget being in my daughter got accused of something, and back when she was in elementary school, she got accused of bullying another girl, and then that mom went throughout our community and lambasted my wife and I, talked about us left and right in the community. Now, thankfully, the elementary school knew what the real deal was. They were behind us. They knew the deal. But there was times in my thought process that I thought we need to confront her and her husband, and we need to set the record straight. And well, we prayed about it, and we just came to the conclusion that this is a fight we're going to leave up to him. And I will tell you, brother, he fought that fight for us. I mean, our name was cleared. We came out real good in the wash. Now, I'll say this, as far as like the fight, there's a one point in scripture where Jesus actually instructed his disciples to sell a tunic and go get a sword. There was a time he told them to go get a sword. There's nobody on the face of this earth that will be able to convince me that if somebody's kicking down my door with my daughters in there and my wife in there, or if I'm out on the street and there's somebody's trying to snatch them away from me, I will tell you this, I'm fully at peace with being the worst person that guy ever met. That's where I'm at. I'm 100% committed. The turn the other cheek thing, if you look at the Jewish culture back in that time, biblically, there was a lot of times when people got slapped. The law of that time, the Pharisaical period that they were under, it wasn't anything for a spiritual leader to smack somebody under that time. I'm glad we're not under that system anymore, but that there's a lot that goes with that. Jesus understood that there was a time to pull out a sword. We don't just need swords against people. We might need a sword against an animal one day, depending upon I've known people that got killed by dogs, and I guarantee you that the outcome would have been different if they'd have had a blade in hand. But I'm at peace, and I've had to make peace with violence, brother, believe it or not. I'm a very gentle, kind, sweet guy, man, in my day-to-day life. But um, there's a part of me that's very indignant towards the fact that evil men exist and they think they can just take from everybody.
Yep.
You know, they think they can just take somebody that I love. And I tell you right now, I don't mean this literally, but I'd risk going to hell over my kids, man. You know what I mean? I don't think I'd have to do that, but my children and to be a protector, I feel like they deserve that. And I feel like that not only does our families deserve it, I feel like our communities, the people we go into the grocery store with, deserve it. And so that's my thought, man. I will never turn the cheek towards a murderer, but I'll turn the other cheek towards a non-murderer, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's some message. It really is. I mean, listen, Dan, you know from watching you, you're a good man. You're definitely a good man. You're level-headed. What I like about your message is the fact that you convey on a lot of your videos that avoidance is always something that you should consider. Okay? Avoidance to confrontation is always uber if it's possible. But you, at the same respect, you're also saying you're at peace with violence if necessary. So I think you're really approaching this with probably the most level-headed way you can possibly approach it. That's why Scab says he loves your channel so much, because you're different from everyone else. Because there's other people going like, "Oh, you got to fight like this. You got this. It's it's either one or the other. It's either your middle ground, very level-headed, and listen, calm heads will prevail. I mean, and that's why I like why you're doing the psychological videos in terms of being at peace in the mind, because level heads will prevail and will basically get you through certain situations. If you encounter a self-defense type of situation, if you have that level head and you're at peace in your mind, you're able to approach it a little more rationally. And I think that's what you're kind of just the way you prepare yourself and the way you're kind of teaching, on your channel and in your church and all that. And I respect you for it. You're doing an amazing job to it.
I appreciate that so much.
A lot of respect.
Thank you. And a lot of kickback that I get, there's something that I try to tell my audience all the time. It's something people don't think about. I've actually wanted to make this video, but my gut tells me to be careful about this particular idea that I've been thinking about bringing to the table, because I don't want to come across like I'm telling people what to do, because I need them to make their own decision about this. But people are constantly always talking about what is legal and what's not legal. And they'll say, if you use that, that'll get you put in jail. But see, my mindset is this. Well, number one, I won't have to use it unless the situation's really bad. Number two, if it took using this to save the life of my kids, at least my kids can visit me in jail. It's that people are so afraid of going to jail. That's all they think about. They think about, oh, I'm going to go to jail if I do this. No, you'll go to jail definitely if you do something stupid and you're not smart.
Yeah.
But if it takes, and if I have to take this pencil, and stick it in somebody's eye,
John Wick it.
If I got to John Wick somebody with this pencil, a poke to the eye to get the advantage to get away, I'm 100% willing to do it, because I know this much. I can tell you this much, that rotting in a jail cell for the rest of my life would be a cakewalk compared to losing one of my little girls or my wife. That'd be the worst prison cell I could live in for the rest of my days. And I could go to prison and get killed by some 300 muscle bound dude with a shank. That's still a better path for me than failing to give everything I had to keep my family alive. If it ever got that bad, not that it ever will. I just think you have to prepare for it.
You know who's not scared to go to jail?
Who's that?
Criminals. Criminals.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think people misunderstand, because we all get the same thing with the weapons, and a lot of stuff on my channel will get you put in jail because they're ridiculously large blades. They're fun, and if you walk around with the Kratos or something, you're going to jail.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think what they miss, man, is, well, I know they miss it. I don't think is when we do these challenges, we do it because we have a passion and a heart to share that. And I'll be honest with you. The first thought in my mind is not with a knife. It is not, oh, I'm going to defend myself, right? I'm going to use common sense, situational awareness,
Right.
and let that dictate. But at the same time, like you said, if you're attacked, laws aren't just made against us. That's a common misconception
Right.
that all the laws, because that's what you hear. It's part of fear mongering.
Yeah.
Yes.
The laws are against good people, and there are injustices. Let's not pretend there's not.
Right.
But if you act accordingly and defend yourself or defend your family, you may go to jail overnight,
Right.
right?
Right.
But you're not. We've all seen I think it was the 70s or 80s where the guy had molested the boy and his dad standing at the payphone.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they walked by, he put him lights out, and he was, justifiable homicide. And nobody wants to deal with that. We live in an age, Daniel, where people have a online fear culture, and you see it everywhere,
Yes.
where everybody's scared to death online. But then you go to work, you go out, and it's, the people that talk smack online about all this stuff, when you go out in real life, everything's pretty fine. You may get a road rager here and there, or a meth crafter. So one thing I was going to bring up too, and get your opinion on, everybody thinks they're going to get attacked by SEAL Team 6, right?
Right.
If you watch YouTube, they got guys out in the backyard doing butt rolls, getting ready to get hit.
You got to be prepared. You got to be prepared out there, man.
You're gonna get
You
hit
have
by
the grenade in your chest.
you're gonna get hit by a tweaker or something. But talk about the different levels of preparedness that you might coming up on your channel. Have you ever thought about breaking it down into different levels of preparedness for different situations?
Yeah, for different types of people. That's a great question, and you're so right. I've seen a various number of threats, and yeah, it's like it's people train and prepare. Thankfully, it's not the SEALs attacking people. It's not the MMA guys. These MMA guys, whether it be John Jones, or any of those guys could eat us for lunch. If they grabbed a hold of us, that's what they do all day, every day. Now, weapons, and that's the thing about the street, though, is that MMA, MMA versus MMA, the professional is going to win. But in the streets, there's weapons and there's fighting dirty. But here's the thing: the MMA guy can fight dirty as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think about that. A lot of people say, a lot of self-defense guys, they are afraid they don't like to admit that MMA guys are ultimately at the top of the food chain. They don't like to admit that. And it's unfair because, number one, these guys fight in combat every day. They go against another man and they feel the force of that man every day. And a lot of these guys are like, yeah, but they're not practicing kill techniques such as eye gouging and growing shots. But see, they can do all that stuff too. It's so funny. And I think a lot of these Mick Dojo guys don't want to admit that they aren't as tested. And I think that as far as preparation, to go back to your original question, I think that a universal type of preparation is really necessary. Number one, physical preparation in general. I think we all can alleviate a lot of things by just simply being physically in shape as possible. That's being physically in shape as possible. You got some guys talking about defending themselves who can't even do an up down. Think about that for a moment. They can't even drop down, do an up down and get back up. Well, that's real life. In real life, you're scrambling and you might fall. And you might have to get back up again. So it's like, if you can't do a few up downs, you got people talking about how they're going to push a man off of them when they can't push themselves up off the ground. So it's as far as like being prepared. I think that my philosophy, to go back to your point, as far as levels, of preparedness comes down to one simple statement. I don't think you and I have the pressure of being the most dangerous in the world, the most dangerous man in the room, but I think we can be one of the most prepared men in any room. You know, I think it's an unrealistic goal for me to go into the mall tonight thinking, you know, I'm the most dangerous man in this mall, because there might be somebody in there that can maul me easily, you know, if they get me. But I can be one of the most prepared men in that mall. I guarantee you, if they pull out some of the most prepared, I'd make the cut. Yeah. You know, so you're exactly right. The most common threat we're going to face on the street, I would say the most common threat in the top three would be the public drunk, the guy on the street who's lost his mind, and thirdly, this is the toughest of the three, thugs. Young thugs, the types of guys that play the knockout game that was going on up in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's terrible. That was terrible.
Yeah, you got that. Those are the ones.
But they prey on the weak. They prey on the weak. I mean,
really,
you're talking about old women. You know, they're punching. I mean, how sick you have to be to have an intention to go out and do something like that. And yeah, those are people you got to be careful for, because they go out with an intention, and that's what they're going to do. But they prey on the weak, and that's terrible.
Yeah, the worst.
A lot of guys too.
Yes, yeah, they did. They snuck up on them. And that is important. The way we carry ourselves is huge. You know, for me, I'll say this. I've always, for years, my wife gave me a hard time about wanting to shave my head. Like she, because I didn't go. I'm bald in the corners, but I didn't go bald completely. But I told my wife I've never wanted to wear hair. Not that there's anything wrong with hair. I personally just felt more connected to who I was with just no hair to mess with, you know. You know, the bald head thing, it's crazy to me how different I started getting treated having a bald head versus having hair. It's crazy. Yeah. People are more suspicious of you. I don't know how to describe it. They're just more suspicious. It's weird. It's offsetting to people. And it's like, and my point is there's little things we can do in carrying ourselves every day to lower our target factor. Being in shape is one thing. Being alert is another. I religiously hit the gym. I'll just shrivel up if I don't lift weights, you know, and all that stuff's important to me. But just because I want to be physically prepared, because I think the worst kind of person we'll ever encounter on the street, if we're being realistic, is a thug. And a lot of these guys are younger, spunky, strong. They're used to getting in fights. They're getting in fights in the neighborhoods. They've been some of these boys have grown up without fathers, and they've been fighting their whole life. So they're, in a lot of ways, a lot of these thug guys are like wild dogs, you know. The guys that grow up without fathers, and hey, man, black or white, whatever nationality.
Well, I wanted to jump in. It's all colors, and it's
all colors.
All colors. I want to be real aware of that, because growing up down here, I guess I decided, since Dad was a pastor, I was going to be the opposite, right?
Yeah.
For a long time. And so I've run with all kind of people. Yeah. And I did want to drop back and say, when you were talking about the MMA guy, I kind of laughed. There's a guy on TikTok who, if I say too much, it'll give him away. I don't want to do that. But he just swears that the guy that's a street guy can beat an MMA guy. And the truth of the matter is this: MMA guys aren't really dangerous because they're MMA guys. They are, right?
Right.
They're not mad. They're not mad at you.
Right.
If you have to rely on anger and get hyped up, and you have to get pumped up, and you have to have that dude ain't worried about you.
Right.
So while you're pitching a fit and all that, he's probably gotten about 3 steps closer to you.
Right.
Every time you're looking around to see who's watching, he's moving in on you. And they're and it's, those guys are dangerous, but the guys, the younger guys
Mm-hmm.
who, and it's big in the South. You grew up, that was when I grew up. I'm 53, but when I grew up, a part of who you were was physical toughness. And
Yeah.
you'd have to prove it. Even after high school, it was stupid.
Yeah.
Right. Same
But
here.
it's, and for a long time I was in shape. And to follow up, I that's why I started losing weight. That was a big thing. I couldn't move, dude. I was big as a house. But I would have provided, the only threat I could have provided was for me, arm's length. I'd have to get it done in about 20 seconds because I'd be
Yeah.
on the ground with a heart attack. All of that matters. You know, I mean, seriously, man.
Yeah.
So you
Right.
start, when you get older and you've lived kind of a little bit rougher life, you start going, you know, I can't probably throw a punch like I used to. Probably can't take one like I used to. You need to get in shape. And if you're watching, if you're in the chat, and I'm sorry to ignore you in the chat, but if you watch the show, you're used to it. If you're in the chat, do what you can do to get in shape, even if it's standing up and getting down. Stand up, get down. I believe in that. I really believe it.
Absolutely. You know, all we can do is our best, you know, and again, the older we get, brother, you know how important it is. That's why I say that's how I've targeted I don't use the word targeted. I've focused with the elderly crowd to let them know that if you still got fire in your heart for the subject of self-defense, it's time to start developing your mind. Because when we're young, all we really think about at times is developing our skill set and our bodies. But like the art of being able to avoid being in a situation is the greatest, you know.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. I will give you one quick example of how you can do your part and things still happen. I was taking my teens up to a weekend retreat, man, and we stopped at a gas station to get out and pump some gas. And while we were there, this guy in the parking lot of the gas station was drunk and intoxicated. He had his shirt off. He was ready to brawl with somebody. I at first thought that he was arguing with his wife, so that's why I proceeded on. Had I have known he was just yelling at everybody in general, I wouldn't have gone. But come to find out, he was just looking for anybody that would respond to him. And man, when I got out of the van to walk up to one of my students to help them, I put my gas card in for them. Man, he's running his mouth to me the whole time. Something about me set him off. I got out of the van and started walking toward the gas pump. And he said, "You gonna shoot me, tough guy?" He yelled that across the parking lot. I'm like, dude, I mean, like,
Oh. Yeah. Did we lose him?
Somebody shot his lights.
Oh,
There
there you go. Oh, his audio went out. Daniel, if you could hear us, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Let me see. His audio's on. No, his audio's on. No, we can't hear you.
I got a feeling we're missing a good story.
Yeah, I know. I'm really pissed off right now because I don't know if he could hear us.
Wait,
no, your mic. I don't know if you could hear us, Dan, but your mic is not working. We don't hear you. Try to reset your mic, or maybe come out of the chat and come back in again. Go out and come in again. No, I don't have his phone. Can't hear.
oh, I'm gonna put this on. I'm sorry about this.
Oh, there you go. I hear you now.
Oh, can you hear me now? Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, turn it back around and we're good.
Yeah, somebody tried to call me and it threw me off. And did
that's
y'all
what it
catch
was.
the whole story?
No,
you cut out about maybe 4 minutes ago, less.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we
pick
cut out.
Pick up at the shooting.
At the gas station. Oh yeah. He said
gas station.
He said, "You're gonna shoot me, tough guy." And so anyway, he was mouthing off to me the whole time, and I was just standing with my student, a young lady. She was pumping gas, and I was keeping an eye on him. I was just kind of keeping my eyes over to the side, and he wasn't walking closer to me. And I was like, "This guy's trouble." He was an aggressor, man, and I don't even know what his problem was, but he, sure enough, when she got done pumping gas, I made sure she got in her car okay, and then I went over to my other student, young man, and the guy followed me over there, and he got close to one of my boys, and I just revved up on him, man, and I warned him, a stern warning. I got in position. I told him to stay back. I warned him. I just warned him to stay back. My disposition was poised and ready to go. I was armed. I was armed well that day. And he was intoxicated, and I've seen his kind before, but I knew how to keep him at bay with my eye contact and my disposition, and he backed down. And he went down the parking lot. And as soon as he got to the parking lot, man, the sheriff's department showed up. Somebody had called the sheriff's department, and that was a very valuable point of validation to me that day, because I have often thought to myself, like Scab said, man, 9.9 out of 10 days, everything's going fine, and you're not going to run into no trouble. But like that day showed me, it was a very strong validation that I'm stopping for gas. Next thing you know, I got a cocky, drunk guy yelling at me. This guy was no old man slouch. He was a middle-aged guy like me. You know, it would have been a real fight. I know it would have been a physical thing, and I can tell that it wasn't his first rodeo, but thankfully I knew how to make eye contact with him. All that stuff's important, man. The way you look at somebody, you practically can't blink. If you got to stare somebody down, you know, you turn your head down and you look up with your eyes and you stare through their soul like you want to kill them. And I hate to put it bluntly like that, but I looked at him like he was about to die. That's how I looked at him, because I didn't want to end up in a confrontation, but I was fully committed and at peace with it, because I had my boys with me. But he saw that fire in my heart, man. And for whatever reason, he just gave up. He gave up and walked away from me. And I'm glad he did. Had we gotten to a fight, the sheriff's department would have taken both of us in, man. Here I am getting arrested on the way to try to take my young people to a retreat. So
because that's
arrested.
Yeah, I'd have been arrested.
You came in with a level head. You didn't come in with a hot head. Because listen, I grew up in some neighborhoods in Brooklyn where everyone had a hot head and everyone always had something to prove.
Yeah.
And those are the people you got to watch out for. The people who always feel like they need to prove something.
Oh God.
Whether to themselves or people around them, they always need to prove something, like they're the toughest guy in every confrontation. The fact that you're able to walk away from it, you know that old metaphor, that old analogy where they say the best accident, the best car accident is the accident you can walk away from.
Right.
The best fight is the fight that you can walk away from without having to fight. I mean, that's just that's what it comes down to. Be confident, have poise, be prepared.
Yeah.
But always take that notion of, you know what, if you don't have to, you don't have to.
Absolutely. I think that's the importance of training. I think that if more people would just fight with themselves in the gym, pushing weights, getting down up off the ground, hitting the heavy bag, training with some other partners. Again, those are the people that already got it out of their system. They're at peace with that side of themselves. It's kind of like the puppy who needs a good chew toy before he goes to sleep, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And these guys out here, they want to test themselves a lot of people don't know how to train, and they don't train. So they're like, man, I got to get out here and test myself. It's like a primal innate thing with guys who don't have good raising.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you get guys who, for whatever reason, will take it to the next level before you can blink. And I think that's the biggest part of common sense, situational awareness, looking around, knowing, giving yourself an out. 20 years ago, I really wasn't worried about it. I wasn't worried about an out. But at the same time, when you're living to die and you're running wide open, but what happens, man, these kids, when they have nothing, they feel like they have nothing. When nobody invests time in them, they're going to get attention. And it'll start off early. They're going to get attention. And then by the time they're in the teens and early and late 20s, they feel like, we look at it like they feel like they're owed something. I don't think that's it. I think they want to be loved.
Yeah.
And they want to be seen, and they want to be heard, and they're going to be.
Yeah.
And too easy to get a gun anymore. It's just too easy.
It is.
So And I know we've kind of veered from where we were, but it's been I like where the conversation's going,
Yeah,
and I like
definitely.
that you're teaching preparedness. Talk more. I want you to get more in. It seems like you're very prepared. Talk a little bit about your YouTube preparation. Like how far out in advance do you schedule videos? Because there's a lot of guys probably in the chat that are starting channels or been in it.
Yeah.
Talk a little about how you set your YouTube
Yeah.
situation up.
And while you do that, Daniel, also implement, because I wanted to also, this is probably related to it. What inspires you? What topics? Where do you get your inspiration for your topics? Because I'm at the crossroads where I'm looking to change my channel. I'm sure maybe some other people are too. Where do you get your inspiration? Is it something that happens to you personally? Is it something you research? Is it something you see on the news? And do you like go around like copying, making notes and saying, you know what, that'll be a good topic? Like, I would love to know, get into your brain and see how you work and how you plan yourself for content and for YouTube moving forward.
All right, absolutely. So it's a number of things working together at one time. My filming area is the woods behind my house that I cleared out after my dad passed away. So that's kind of like my grounds, and I spend time out there just, training marksmanship, doing different things. And certain things will come to mind when I'm out training and doing things, because I might find a skill set that I want to teach. That's where an idea might come from time to time. If I'm out learning things and a light bulb comes on, that's usually a source for a video, is when the light bulb comes on from experience, because I think we should teach from experience. Another thing that gives me inspiration, and this is what I don't like, I actually don't like to pull up Instagram and scroll through and watch videos, but I think it's important to watch videos throughout the day, even if it's 30 minutes a day of you scrolling and mindlessly just watching videos, because what you see is you hear certain topics being brought up, you see fights happening, you see robberies happening, you see once you watch on the internet, the algorithm's going to feed you what you're watching. So it's like you're going to have a regular flow. I'm watching videos. I watch a lot of fight footage. I study it. I study fight footage, and you know what? I hate it. I hate it. I don't like to see it. I don't get off on it. I don't like to watch it, but I watch it because it's necessary. I watch fight footage, and I watch mistakes that people make, and I'll build videos around those mistakes. I'll build videos, movies. I let movies inspire me. I know y'all may have seen this. I did a video recently on 5 life-saving lessons that we can learn from the film Speak No Evil. Yeah. I mean, like, you watch that movie and like you got to take it a little bit seriously. It's over exaggerated, but you got to think, okay, how did they get in this situation? What mistakes were made along the way? I've done videos on the Lovely Bones, where the little girl was abducted and killed. So I let things that bother me produce a sense of urgency and a burden. I'm gonna tell you brothers this from a passionate place. In order for anything to be effective in our life, we got to have a burden for it, man. We got to develop a burden. It can't just be information. It's got to be stuff that really hits our heartstrings. When I get out there and teach on something, man, I'm trying to save somebody's life. I'm trying to speak transparent. So that's where I get my inspiration is I'll pray and ask for wisdom. I'll say, Lord, what shall it be? What do you got for them, today? What am I missing? What can you show me? It might be a negative experience I had with another individual and what I learned from it, So every experience you have in life, every lesson that you learn, every movie that you watch, every video that you see on the internet, it's feeding your reservoir. And what you have a burden and what you have a passion for, put that into a video and speak to the people like you're speaking to 20 people around a campfire. Because that's me. I'm an outdoors guy. When I'm not filming videos, if the weather's right, I light up the fireplace and sit out there under the stars. I spend a lot of time in the quiet. I don't get caught up in the noise. I'll tell you something else I don't do. I don't try to get ideas from anybody else. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't mind gleaning from somebody, but I don't. I had two big YouTubers. I won't name their channels. I ain't about that. I had two big YouTubers that took my video titles note for note and made videos with them within a month of my video. I put out a video on one topic, and another YouTuber who's got about 100 more thousand subscribers than me, about 3 weeks later, he did the exact same title. It was crazy. You know, I wouldn't have minded that. A little shout out would have been cool.
Yeah.
Hey man,
Yeah,
like
they ain't gonna do
you
that,
did,
bro.
Scab. Yeah, like Scab, like you did. You know, like it's like,
Self
hey,
defense things. Yeah.
yeah,
You got I seen that with you, man. And I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to tell you what happened. When you talk about building a video, and just kind of put this in the back of your head for a second, from the time you get your idea till the time you put out the video, be thinking about how long that takes. And to speak to that, I saw your video and it spoke to me on a different level.
Yeah.
But if I do anything, man, I give credit because I think it's important. I think it's I to the nth degree. I think it's very important, right? There's a lot that goes on in our quote unquote community that's not fun and it's not savory. But by giving credit and shouting people out, because here's the deal, man, whether it's self-defense, whether it's outdoors, whether it's swordsmanship, YouTube doesn't love us. And if we don't give each other credit and help each other out, then we're all, you know, but tell me how long and I'll tell you why I'm asking, but tell me how much time of how much thought you put into a video. Like, how long will it take?
Oh, brother, it can all happen in a day's time. Most videos happen very fast. I'll be hanging out at the house at 4 o'clock one afternoon on a Friday, and man, I'll get an idea about a video, and the points of the video are developed within a matter of minutes, because I'm already speaking to topics that I'm so used to teaching. If I could be 4 o'clock, I might get an idea about 3 problems with so-and-so or 3 types of things. Like, man, that's a great category. Dude, I will grab my phone. I will run out to the woods. I will film that bad boy in a 30-minute period. I'll go back in the house later that night. I'll separate the clips. I'll edit it. I'll go ahead and shoot it to YouTube, mark it private, and make it public when I'm ready to upload it. I just, man, I got like 5 to 10 videos right now just sitting out there. I can go public with them whenever I want to. So yeah, some videos are more thought out. If I have to do a very in-depth review about a product I don't like, that thing might take me a week of research.
Yeah.
But a talk video is already something circulating in my spirit. And it's something that I can usually do inside of an hour as far as filming, because the answers are already in my heart, man. So it's like talk videos they're the easiest and they go the furthest because they reach more people. I told him, you know, it's just like it's this might be a little bit of an off-color joke here, but he said, you know, we're going to talk like we're around a campfire. You know, I won't use but I'll just say, man, it's one way to keep our channels from becoming a dude fest. And I think I remember you saying something similar to that one time.
Yeah.
I got tired of my channel just being a dude fest. I love hearing from, you know, 70-year-old woman down in Texas, like she's 73. She always says, "God bless you," from Texas, Nana. You know, and she's a woman, you know, and I got women, men, young people. I had one young guy come in my comments and say, "You're like a dad to me that I never had." Young ladies, thank you for this direction. I need this, you know. So I hope that answers your question. If it's an in-depth product review, I will usually take, even if it's a new knife, like the Little Evil, for example, I would probably take a couple of days and just read up on the Little Evil, on the designer, and really be able to talk honorably about it. Those videos I can't just throw out. Talk videos flow out of me like water. If I get an idea on a Saturday afternoon at 12 o'clock and the sun is shining and it ain't raining, I will take my camera and run to the woods and make that video right there on the spot, man. I'll set my camera. I don't even use a tripod, brothers. I set my camera up on notches of a tree. I'll find the notch of a tree and I'll set my camera up on it. I'll hold it out like this. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
I set it up. I like to change the screen. It's very important to do that because people don't have a good attention span, and you want the screens to be changing.
Yeah.
It's very important if you can, because I've only had one person complain about that, and I've had a million others say that's how I like it. And the scenery.
You always got to cheat. You have to keep it interesting. You always got to change frames all the time. Yep.
Because you're going to get paid on, ultimately, man, it's your watch time hours that's paying you.
Yeah.
Views and subscribers are wonderful, but in the long run, making a living on YouTube has all to do with keeping people there. And there's an art in that. That's why I like to do bullet point videos, because, you got to stick around for that third point.
Right. Exactly.
You got to stick around.
The appeal to your video is you're level-headed. I know when I watch your video, it's going to make sense. There's a lot to that. You don't speak above people. You don't speak down to people. There's a lot to that. And you keep it in a concise format. And that's something I cannot do. My views come from shorts. But the reason I was asking you about that is, man, I'll get an idea. And as soon as I get the idea, I'm putting out a video. Now, what I've started doing, because I'll talk around my elbow to get to my ass some days, and it'll be a 25-minute video and about 5 minutes worth of anything.
Right.
But what I've started doing is, if I get an idea, like the day with your video, I felt like I knew exactly what you were talking about, and it resonated, and I knew how I wanted to do it, and I thought it could be something that would feed, and it did.
I loved it.
I like doing that. I like doing that a lot, but sometimes with me, I don't do this, and I need to outline it more. My dad's a preacher. My mom has taught since before I could walk, and she is a talker. That's where I get it from. So I talk, and I need to focus in more on the bullet points. I like the way you do that a lot. I really do.
Thank you. I really want to talk more, but I know that, and I still get accused of talking too much. It's weird, man.
No, dude,
you get a lot. I got to tell, I'm impressed how much you get across within a good 7 to 9 minute frame.
Yeah.
And you get a lot across within that minute, and then you just end it off. How do you end off one of your videos? What do you say at the end?
I'll usually say, thanks so much for watching. Take care.
Take care. That's what you said. Take care. And you get a lot across within that minute frame. It's really good.
I'll tell you, encourage your audience to help. People like to feel like they're helping you out, and people like to weigh in. So, you leave. I've also got a lot of experience in music. I grew up doing music, and we talk about playing with band members. There are musicians that overplay, and then there are musicians who are very much in the pocket. A simple drummer, man, with a simple beat, a simple bass groove. What they do is they leave room for more to happen, when they're not overplaying themselves. So if we say what we need to say and be all right with that, what's going to happen is you're going to have people weighing in on the comments because people love to find things that we miss. They love that stuff. Hey, you missed this. And so that helps us, though, ultimately, because the more people that are commenting, YouTube's looking at your engagement. They're like, I'm selling this to the algorithm. People are talking on here.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Engagement is huge, and it does get. I see a lot of guys get frustrated, but it's how you handle yourself, Daniel. It's what you do and what I've got to start doing, and Joe gets onto it. I leave a little too much for interpretation, and but it's hard for me, right?
Yeah.
It's hard because I'm learning with a lot of this stuff. If you leave too much for them to put into, they'll wear you out. But you come from a good direct place. So you started off, and I said this earlier, we're not going to dwell much on the past, we'll move forward. But did you start off primarily throwing knives? It seems like every video I watched of yours,
Yeah,
you were
I
throwing.
really, I hate to say this, and I learned the hard way, but my YouTube channel started out with me being a show off. Ultimately, I started out, it'd be one clip of me throwing knives, it'd be another clip of me throwing a hatchet, for 24 feet. It'd be another clip of me doing some sort of martial arts technique. It was like these montages that were flowing, and I would title these montages, training video, martial arts, and dude, YouTube couldn't care less. The people couldn't care less. So yes, I used to do a lot of performing. I was heavily into knife throwing when I first started the channel. My goal was to be able to throw a knife instinctively. It's just a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
It's not anything that I think is a primary combative. I just still think it's cool to be able to do it.
Right.
And but it's becoming a very small part of what I'm about. I didn't want to become a knife throwing channel anyway, because I'm gonna be honest, man. I had a negative experience with the knife throwing community, and I'll say that publicly from the rooftops. I met a couple of really nice knife throwers, man, but the rest of them were scared to death that somebody was going to steal their thunder. And I'd love to name names, but I'm going to stay away from it. And
Yeah. Okay.
but I was like,
Okay.
you know what? I don't need this circus act, because most people see knife throwing as a circus act anyway. And I was like, this is not even a primary real world combative. I mean, like in an apocalyptic situation, if you had a chance to ambush somebody, now I'll tell you the truth, man. If somebody don't see me coming, they're done. If I've got a knife, and
Oh yeah, I'm throwing it.
yeah, if they don't see me coming, it is an ambush type of warfare. It's not. I would never throw a knife at an aware target, because they can just run. They'll just run.
Yeah.
Even though the way I throw it doesn't spin, it goes straight. But anyway,
Yeah, I saw that today. Yeah,
but
I think I used one of your videos where you. But the thing with that is too, you, much like me, I'm not trying to be a part of that community, and I'm not trying to be a part of and nothing against any of them. Love all of them. We get everybody here. But for us, I think it's just fun to do, and it's like cutting a sandwich or cutting paper.
yeah.
I don't think that's any great skill. It's fun and it aggravates people. So I do it every day.
Well, I'll tell you how much you inspired me. I was at home the other night. My wife brought subs home, and I said, honey, I said, grab that roach belly out of the drawer over there. I said, I don't want to cut my sandwich with a steak knife. I want to cut it with a specialty blade like my friend Scab does. And so it's great. But knife throwing's fun, but I abandoned the community because I had one guy complaining about knife throwing knives that I was reviewing. He said that I was reviewing a stolen design. Another guy, low key was like, I invented that technique. Why are you teaching it as if you invented it? Dude, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had one guy trolling how I was explaining a certain technique. I ended up having to block him out. And I'll be honest, with the exception of about 2 or 3 guys, I was like, I don't want to be in the knife throwing community. I want to throw knives, but I'm not in that community.
Right.
Yeah.
This is combat knife throwing, apocalyptic style, 1 in a million thing. It's just fun to do.
Yeah,
I'd rather hold them.
Well, see that there is a line though, because a lot of people in the chat, which is right, do what you love, do what you like to do, but there is toxic groups out there, and you just got to kind of you got to pick and choose what you're going to be a part of, and
they're everywhere. And here's the truth. Yeah. I fed into it for a little bit. And I'll be the first. I get misunderstood. And then sometimes I'm perfectly understood. But the way I'm going right now and the way I feel right now, I think as soon as you throw that in there, it kills everything.
Yes.
So it's just like, well, wait a minute. Let's just do knife tube. Let's all have fun. I'm not here to step on your toe. Dude, there
Yeah.
are 8.2 billion people in the world. There's 1 billion accounts on YouTube. There's room for everybody
There
to
is.
do everything. And there's no rules, there's no governing body, and there's not gonna be. That, and I didn't bring up the knife throwing. That's just, I think the first video of yours I ever commented, I think you were throwing a kukri. I'm pretty sure.
I was heavily into it. I think there was a part of me at first. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm from nowhere. I'm a country boy who developed a talent, and I thought that maybe that would be an interesting thing to present on YouTube. But little did I know that everybody else was doing the same thing. And I just was like, after a while, it started all kind of feeling silly to me a little bit, man. I was like, let's quit playing and let's get into some real stuff. You know, the problem with knife throwing, like, I want to do something that everybody can be involved in. If all I ever do is show people my skills, that doesn't really, I don't want, that's like, they're going to get tired of just watching me do things that they may not be able to do. Or I want to bring everybody into the room and let everybody know that you can play a part in this somewhere.
Yeah. Well, they want to see you miss too.
Yeah.
They want to, I mean, they want to see, hey, Daniel's normal. He's good, but he's normal. You know, and I think I think that's it.
Scab, I don't miss. I don't miss. That's why you don't see me miss, Scab.
Yeah. You're also the world's best editor.
I'll always do knife throwing on the channel because that's so daggone fun.
It's fun. That's like Joe was cutting, and it's fun. And at the end of the day, people read into that. A lot of the stuff you do, you do, Joe does, is to try to catch, people. It's like if you say you want to grow a channel, it's a bad thing. No, it's not, but you do things like that. And I seen you with a slingshot the other day. I love slingshot, man. Donald Mike Gideon. I don't know if you know DMG, but
I do. He's a great guy.
He's awesome guy.
Yeah,
he sent me 4 or 5, or more than that. I need to go back and watch the slingshot video. But dude, I think that's what happens when you open it up and you've got 411 Outdoors. You can do anything you want to do, and it fits.
The name is so key, man.
You don't pigeonhole yourself. It fits. It's out.
Thank you.
I love that.
You guys have been really encouraging to me. I'm one of those guys that don't take compliments lightly. I take it to heart. I greatly appreciate every word of encouragement you guys have brought. It's very validating in a sense, and I want to see other channels succeed the same way. And if I can inspire other content creators to branch out, you are the brand. And that's what I want to get content creators to move away from inanimate objects to knowing that you're the brand. And ultimately, Joe and Scab, people come to the channels to see you because you've got buy-in with them. This is a fact. I need to get you more into my algorithm. Do you do shorts much?
I do shorts, but I've been lacking shorts. I do a lot of shorts when I put a long form video out. I put a lot of remixes on my long forms, but I stopped doing a lot of like constant shorts, which I have to get back to again.
I do it on days where I don't do long form. I do long form content 3 days a week, shorts the rest of the day. It's a presence every day on YouTube. But Scab's shorts, I watch probably at least 3 a day. I love seeing all of those big blades, and I love the sandwich cutting. And like we were talking about the tagline, I'm Scab and you're not. The reason why I laugh every time I hear that, I even recite it. And the reason why I love it so much is because it's very symbolic of the fact that regardless of what people say, you still doing you, and it's like, it's okay if y'all don't do things the way I do. I'm Scab, you're not. And that, and it's really like it's deep. It's a deep statement. It says a lot. It says, you guys I don't need your validation necessarily. I'm doing things this way. And I think that's the way to make your brand go forward is if we live by the approval of other people, we die by their criticism.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
It'll crush you.
we've got to be an original. No matter what, we've got to be an original, because the trends that we follow today, somebody's going to be making a parody about them 10 years from now.
Mhm.
It's hard to make a parody about an original.
That's right.
It really is. And so
It'll
that's
crush you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sir.
If you let it get to you, it'll crush you. And I see a lot of guys that fold up shop. And it makes me sad. It really does, because when people start a channel, and you know this,
Mm-hmm.
people that start channels do it because they want to share.
Yeah.
You know? And when somebody just comes in and, man, they stomp all over it, people, oh, don't worry about that. Don't. Well, you just poured your heart and soul out. You're putting yourself out there. You know, Daniel, Joe, Scab, Donnie, whoever it is, put yourself out there. You may not want people to go, you know, everybody's not going to love you. You know that.
Right.
But you don't want people just to come by and crap on you.
Right.
Just to crap on you, you know? And I do think it's important that you keep yourself not above the fray, but away from the fray, you know?
Absolutely.
And help people where you can. That's what it's all about.
Yes,
sir. What I think is also to leave yourself and your channel some room to evolve.
Yeah.
Change. I started around 2020 at the same time, you know, around the pandemic. And I had told you off air, a lot of people know me from the chat. You know, I do video production, photography, I do it by trade. And one of the first things that was closed down was my trade. I mean, you can't be in, you know, obviously I shoot in rooms of, you know, 1,000 people, and those, you know, gatherings completely shut down. So from one day to the other, I was shut down. I was, you know, out every day, every weekend, and I was doing nothing. So I felt like I needed to produce. I need to do something. Yeah. And I had that interest of swords, interest of blades. And it started off like just keeping myself busy, you know, like Scab could tell you too. A lot of times, you know, his channel, what he does and why he produces so many videos is to keep himself busy. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I had to keep myself busy. And then it started evolving. I'm like, oh, you know what? I can do this. I can, you know, maybe if I do enough of this, maybe I can get samples. And now that I got samples, what can I do from here? And now I'm at a point where, and again, inspiration from your channel, that I feel like, why stop there? There's a lot of things I'm interested in. Let me talk about certain things. So I rebranded. I changed my channel name, and I want to go in a different direction from there. So, you know, any content creator that's in the chat, don't fear evolving your channel. Don't fear, you know, seeing your channel evolve and trying different things, because you never know where you're going to go from there. And if you are going to name your channel, definitely name something can be generic according to you. And it's a tough thing to do. And you can always change a channel name. But it's always good to kind of just pick something that is you, that what you think, you know, you look at your interests and you see what you're into and you see what you're going to do from there, and try to name it something that would kind of reflect that. So it's a journey. It's a journey, but don't be afraid of change.
That's exactly right. I would encourage people to go all in. You're dang right. You want your channel to grow. You're dang right. It's awesome to make money on your channel, because you're putting in time and work.
Sure.
You're putting in time and work. And, you know, I told myself in the very beginning of this that if I could reach 1,000 subscribers within a year, that I would make 411 Outdoors and LLC, a business that supported, that reviewed gear, that did coaching, a one-stop shop for so many things. And I set out to make this a business from the start. I think, you know, if people choose to go the hobby route, I respect that fully and completely, because some people have to do that depending upon what their job is. But I would encourage people and say that you can go further than you could ever imagine on YouTube, because YouTube is they're basically selling our content to the masses.
Yep.
And we want the balance of doing what we enjoy, but at the same time, answering questions that we know people have. and that is a big time key to getting out there. People are asking YouTube questions. People are they're asking there's specific things that they want to know about, and there's specific things they want to weigh in on. So I love the Steel Mindset title, because the Steel Mindset would be strong mentality, strong fortitude, a man of steel, a strong man, strong people, not just men, strong women too, and that's how it's done, brother. I think you're going to do good.
I like that. I like his title a lot. I
Yeah.
do.
I've been thinking. I was thinking about it, and Scab knows. I text him all the time. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? Finally, I got to a point where this is where it's going to be. Is where it's going to go. I went through so many variations, but you also got to see what's available.
Yeah.
So that's the other challenge too. It's like you have a perfect name. Like I was just going to do Steel Mindset. That was already taken. So I just did it, and it's all right. That's not taken. So that's it. That's what I'm going to go with.
Yep. I'm sure both of you have had your videos that have, I call them viral. Like y'all both have had like videos probably that went further than others, and when that first video came out, when I did that first teaching video, I stepped out on the limb and started doing tips. Man, when it took off, it lit a fire underneath me and said, all right, man, let's ride this train and let's go for it, because I have a heart to teach, and I'm sure, but then I know that both of you do as well. And if anybody,
that video that you took off with was, like you said before, three self-defense tips for the elderly and aging. That was a year ago. You put that out. That got 1.3 million views. That did amazing. And that's not even the best. The best one is, while I'm saying a chat, definitely take a look at these videos. I'll put them into the description. You got to watch the 3 most dangerous people we will encounter. That got 1.6 million views only 4 months ago.
Yeah.
So that just completely viral. I mean, as viral as you're going to get on a long form, which is excellent.
Long form is where I love, and YouTube Shorts is allowing us to go longer now. But yeah, I have a system in play. YouTube Shorts, man, and there's a certain way I like to do things, and the long form is dedicated to those heart to hearts.
Yeah.
And they do well. They do such a great job with that.
Thank you, brother.
Such a great job with that.
Appreciate
Man,
it.
I've enjoyed it. Time has flown by. Joseph will sit in about an hour and 20.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, man. I didn't realize that at all. I mean, it was like 30 minutes. I'm like, all right. And then it just all of a sudden, it's almost an hour and a half here. Daniel, I got to say, the experience of watching your channel pretty much corresponds to speaking you in person. I mean, I knew that you would be great on the show because you're just such an interesting guy and you're a good guy. I mean, you're a gem. I mean, you really are. I mean, I love your values. I love your principles. I can relate to everything you're saying. I mean, I don't even know what to say in your comments. I feel like I said, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't know what the fuck was that. I agree with you, Daniel.
Yeah.
But I do. I agree with your sentiment and how you approach things. And I am going to be VRing you, many times, as I, experiment with my channel, just try to just mention you, because a lot of inspiration is coming from what you're doing here, which is excellent.
Yes, it would be my hope that I could help you and anybody, like Scab said, there's enough out here for all of us.
Of course.
And it would be my honor, man, to pay everything forward, and to help share ideas and whatnot, because I plan on going all the way, man. I'm motivated. I'm excited, most importantly, and I want to provide well for my family, and I have developed a second career with YouTube in doing that. I'm dead serious about this role, and I want that infectious groove to be passed along, and to let everybody know, man, that you can do what you want to do out here, and it will grow. You just got to believe. You got to believe in your brand. You really do. Your brand is for real. And Scab, you got 100 and some thousand. You got like 130,000 subscribers or something like that, don't you, brother?
You about to catch me.
You guys are close. You guys are like within 1,000 subscribers. I mean, the both of you, I think.
That's Wow.
I'm at a happy place. It's going to sound weird. Like I was asked today by one of the guys at work. It said, "Man, are you giving up on knives?" I said, "No, why?" He said, "Well, you've started some of the survival." I said, "No, no, 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 no. It's part of the plan, and knives gear will always be." And I'll tell you why. When you were saying that earlier, I thought, man, that's kind of where I'm at. You get into something, and here's the thing too. I'll make it quick. As far as like the algorithm goes, I could come on here and review a knife every day. I got about 100 of them right here, and that's just my EDC stuff, and I would love it. But the channel can't always be about what you love, right? It is, but it comes to a point where, people that have rode with you, they want to see you evolve. They want to see you grow.
Yeah.
They're cheering for you. There's always going to be those ride or die folks, and you owe it to them to continually try to learn. If you stop learning, you're dead, right?
Yes.
People will react to you differently on the self-defense stuff than they will me. I can tell you that from experience. So for me, I go, you know what? That's not me, right?
Yeah.
I've already got people that are dying to meet up with me to fight me. I'm like, you idiots not realize this seriously.
I believe you. Yeah.
So, but for me, it's a different route, but there's goals there, and the knives will get me there. You get there, and I tell Joe this all the time, by being consistent and having fun.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
People will pick up on it, even when dude. There are days you don't feel like it, but you do it.
Right. Absolutely.
You
That's
do
something
it.
I was going to ask you this, Scab, on your long form content. I don't know. Do you use? I can't remember. I'm so busy watching your shorts. Are you using thumbnails on your long form? Do you have like
my thumbnails are terrible.
I tell you what, brother. I'm gonna help you with that because I love building them and they're quick. If you're doing a long form content on a certain product, shoot me not a upright video, a picture of it, but shoot me like a sideways landscape picture. Like I turn my camera sideways and take a picture of it. Shoot me that, and I'll build you some thumbnails on Canva. Thumbnails are very important for your videos because you got to grab. I see a lot of videos that's got awesome titles, but there's no thumbnail.
Yeah, and do you do the three? Do you put the three thumbnails out to have the algorithm test which one they want to pick?
No, I
should
don't.
Try to use that feature.
Yeah,
it works. It does help you a little bit. Try to design two thumbnails, put it into the test and compare, and have it run both those thumbnails. And what's going to happen is whichever one gets chosen the most, it'll experiment and it'll keep that thumbnail in for all of them. I might have to
get you to show me how to do that.
Yeah. Scab knows. I've offered him a million times to let me do his thumbnails.
Oh, okay.
That's Scab's problem. He's got mental problems. So, but listen, Daniel, when it comes to cinematography, Joe's hands down the best. And I'm not just saying that. I love the studio. When I wanted to start Blade Talk, when I wanted to start this, he was the guy I went to. I didn't know Joe, and we reached out and talked because I knew I can talk. I can turn around and do 30 minutes talking to this wall. That's not a problem. But Joe does all the research. Blade Talk doesn't happen without Joe. It just doesn't, and it doesn't have this quality without Joe. So you guys need to get together off of here with some stuff because he's crazy good. And if you haven't seen it, go back and check out his work on K-Bar because I know you're a K-Bar guy like I am.
Yeah.
He deep dived he did like a documentary. It's dope.
Oh, I got to get dialed into you, Joe, for sure. I got to get, especially now. I've got my YouTube channels, my inner circle, man, that we help each other and whatnot. Believe it or not, I haven't really had that. I've had a few that I've been keeping in touch with, but man, this has been an awesome experience and a memorable experience, and definitely we'll be able to help each other out. And
Daniel, this is not a one and done. I definitely
sir.
want to do. I definitely want to follow up, especially if you got topics. You know what? Let's just say you got a really controversial, really important topic to you. This is a great show. I mean, you know what? Most people in the chat, you know what? They were commenting saying that this show should go right into an audio podcast because it's excellent. Like this particular show. I mean, it's the talk about that we're doing today in general, but they're saying especially today should go because it was a really great commentary. So if there's anything that comes up, I mean, this is your platform as much as it is ours.
Thank you.
If anything comes up, reach out and then we'll definitely make a show about it and talk about it. I think it's just for great conversation.
Yeah.
You know, listen, we all love our blades.
Yeah.
Life is a lot bigger in general than blades.
Oh man, so much. And we can have our blades. And I'm gonna keep on talking about my blades. I love them. I love a knife. You know, I literally go downstairs at night and find a different knife from my collection, and I keep that knife beside me to look at and admire while I'm hanging around. That's
the guy underneath you there. That's what he does.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go down to my crate tonight. I think I want to go down there and get the K-Bar, the D2 Extreme. I'm sitting with that one tonight. And
my girls are crazy when they see me basically taking out my swords and just looking at them and examining. They're like, "But Dad, what the hell are you doing?" Like, I thought, listen, you just don't understand. You know?
Exactly. I've got a video coming out tomorrow titled 3 Reasons You're Obsessed with Knives.
There you go.
That's good. I like that. I like
y'all gonna have a good time with that, and
I may want to VR that about swords or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. We'll definitely collab. We'll do some stuff. But Daniel, listen, thank you for taking the time. I know you had to like finagle things around to get this going.
I'm blocking that light right there. Look at that.
Yeah, no, even just I know what you had to do to get this live going for yourself. But
I got a glorious crown on my head.
There you go.
I like it.
There's your halo. There's your halo.
Now, listen, Daniel, when we go off, just hang out.
Yes.
Yeah, when I go off. So Joe, take us home.
Everyone in the chat, I'm sorry we didn't get to you guys. If you have any questions for Daniel, first of all, if you're not subscribed to 411 Outdoors, you're doing something wrong. You have to go to his channel. I will leave a link after we're done. Go to his channel, but it's very easy. 411 Outdoors. I think there's no other channel name like that. Look him up, sub him. I think you're gonna love. I don't think you're gonna love his content as we all do. Definitely check out his stuff. And I appreciate you guys being here. Until the next Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. We'll see you then. And thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Scab. Thank you, chat. We'll see you when we see you guys.
Thank you all.
We're going to end the stream and we're going to do the awkward pause. All right, here we go.